Sahih al-Bukhari 2271. Narrated Abu Musa. The Prophet said, "The example of Muslims, Jews and Christians is like the example of a man who employed laborers to work for him from morning till night for specific wages. They worked till midday and then said, 'We do not need your money which you have fixed for us, and let whatever we have done be annulled.' The man said to them, 'Don't quit the work, but complete the rest of it and take your full wages.' But they refused and went away. The man employed another batch after them and said to them, 'Complete the rest of the day and yours will be the wages I had fixed for the first batch.' So, they worked till the time of Asr prayer. Then they said, 'Let what we have done be annulled and keep the wages you have promised us for yourself.' The man said to them, 'Complete the rest of the work, as only a little of the day remains,' but they refused. Thereafter he employed another batch to work for the rest of the day, and they worked for the rest of the day till the sunset, and they received the wages of the two former batches. So, that was the example of those people, Muslims, and the example of this light, guidance, which they have accepted willingly." Sahih al-Bukhari 2272. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar. I heard Allah's Messenger, saying, "3 men from among those who were before you, set out together till they reached a cave at night and entered it. A big rock rolled down the mountain and closed the mouth of the cave. They said to each other, 'Nothing could save you from this rock but to invoke Allah by giving reference to the righteous deed which you have done, for Allah's sake only.' So, one of them said, 'O Allah, I had old parents and I never provided my family, wife, children etc., with milk before them. One day, by chance I was delayed, and I came late, at night, while they had slept. I milked the sheep for them and took the milk to them, but I found them sleeping. I disliked to provide my family with the milk before them. I waited for them and the bowl of milk was in my hand, and I kept on waiting for them to get up till the day dawned. Then they got up and drank the milk. O Allah, if I did that for your sake only, please relieve us from our critical situation caused by this rock.' So, the rock shifted a little but they could not get out. The Prophet added, the second man said, 'O Allah, I had a cousin who was the dearest of all people to me, and I wanted to have sexual relations with her, but she refused. Later she had a hard time in a famine year, and she came to me and I gave her 120 dinars on the condition that she would not resist my desire, and she agreed. When I was about to fulfill my desire, she said, 'It is illegal for you to outrage my chastity except by legitimate marriage.' So, I thought it a sin to have sexual intercourse with her and left her, though she was the dearest of all the people to me, and also I left the gold I had given her. O Allah, if I did that for your sake only, please relieve us from the present calamity.' So, the rock shifted a little more, but still they could not get out from there. The Prophet added, then the third man said, 'O Allah, I employed few laborers and I paid them their wages with the exception of one man who did not take his wages and went away. I invested his wages and I got much property thereby. Then after some time, he came and said to me, O Allah's slave, pay me my wages.' I said to him, 'All the camels, cows, sheep and slaves you see, are yours.' He said, 'O Allah's slave, don't mock at me.' I said, 'I am not mocking at you.' So, he took all the herd and drove them away and left nothing. O Allah, if I did that for your sake only, please relieve us from the present suffering.' So, that rock shifted completely and they got out walking." Sahih al-Bukhari 2273. Narrated Abu Ma'id al-Ansari. Whenever Allah's Messenger ordered us to give in charity, we would go to the market and work as porters to earn a mud, 2 handfuls, of foodstuff, but now some of us have 100,000 dirhams or dinars. The sub-narrator, Shakik, said, I think Abu Mas'udi meant himself by saying, some of us. Sahih al-Bukhari 2274. Narrated Taz. Ibn Abbas said, the Prophet forbade the meeting of caravans on the way, and ordained that no townsman is permitted to sell things on behalf of a Bedouin. I asked Ibn Abbas, what is the meaning of his saying, no townsman is permitted to sell things on behalf of a Bedouin? He replied, he should not work as a broker for him. Sahih al-Bukhari 2275. Narrated Kababab. I was a blacksmith and did some work for al-Dash bin Whale. When he owed me some money for my work, I went to him to ask for that amount. He said, I will not pay you unless you disbelieve in Muhammad. I said, by Allah, I will never do that till you die and be resurrected. He said, will I be dead and then resurrected after my death? I said, yes. He said, there I will have property and offspring and then I will pay you your due. Then Allah revealed, have you seen him who disbelieved in our signs, and yet says, I will be given property and offspring? 19.77. Sahih al-Bukhari 2276. Narrated Abu Sa'id. Some of the companions of the Prophet went on a journey till they reached some of the Arab tribes at night. They asked the latter to treat them as their guests, but they refused. The chief of that tribe was then bitten by a snake or stung by a scorpion, and they tried their best to cure him but in vain. Some of them said to the others, nothing has benefited him, will you go to the people who resided here at night? It may be that some of them might possess something. As treatment, they went to the group of the companions of the Prophet and said, our chief has been bitten by a snake or stung by a scorpion, and we have tried everything but he has not benefited. Have you got anything useful? One of them replied, yes, by Allah. I can recite a ruqya, but as you have refused to accept us as your guests, I will not recite the ruqya for you unless you fix for us some wages for it. They agrees to pay them a flock of sheep. One of them then went and recited, Surat al-Fatiha, all the praises are for the Lord of the worlds, and puffed over the chief, who became all right as if he was released from a chain, and got up and started walking, showing no signs of sickness. They paid them what they agreed to pay. Some of them, i.e. the companions, then suggested to divide their earnings among themselves, but the one who performed the recitation said, do not divide them till we go to the Prophet, and narrate the whole story to him, and wait for his order. So, they went to Allah's Messenger, and narrated the story. Allah's Messenger asked, how did you come to know that Surat al-Fatiha was recited as ruqya? Then he added, you have done the right thing. Divide what you have earned, and assign a share for me as well. The Prophet smiled thereupon. Sahih al-Bukhari 2277. Narrated Anas bin Malik. When Abu Taiba cupped the Prophet, and the Prophet ordered that he be paid 1 or 2 sas of foodstuff, and he interceded with his masters to reduce his taxes. Sahih al-Bukhari 2278. Narrated Ibn Abbas. When the Prophet was cupped, he paid the man who cupped him his wages. Sahih al-Bukhari 2279. Narrated Ibn Abbas. When the Prophet was cupped, he paid the man who cupped him his wages. If it had been undesirable, he would not have paid him. Sahih al-Bukhari 2280. Narrated Anas. The Prophet used to get cupped and would never withhold the wages of any person.